We start with Trellix, and I welcome to the stage Edward Baker.
This is me. Look out, the sea right
Take a seat.
And I'm marching on the trains I drove. I'm scared to be seen. I make no apology. This is me.
I know.
I tell you what, I've never had a band play a song just for me before.
Have you not?
Chris, and I've got to pick you up on something, Chris. You know,
Yeah.
you called me Edward, didn't you? You called
Is that
me
wrong?
Edward. You called me Edward. Only my mother calls me Edward when I'm in trouble.
Well, I'm old enough to be your
Chris.
mother.
You probably are. But Ed rather than Edward, if you'd please, Chris.
Ed, you travel a lot, you visit lots of places, and you live in this wonderful south of England.
Yeah, I live in the south of England, so I live in a place called Southampton, which is about 50 miles south of London. Actually, the only thing that people know Southampton for, Chris, is that's where the Titanic fatefully sailed from, Chris. But I'm from the UK. It was a long way to get here. Lots of fun. But I tell you, what an event! Eh? I've never been here. I've never been here before.
Right.
And I wish I'd bought my roller skates.
Absolutely. I mean, you could have joined in.
Well, I could have done. Yeah. I mean, there's no backup plan for that one, is there?
Well, we can think of something. We'll borrow some, and you can do it later in the gig.
You got a deal.
I think you ought to get up there and tell us
Shall
what
we
it
do it?
is,
Shall
the
we-
message you have.
Shall we do it?
Now they may feel they know just a little bit about you.
Shall we get started?
Let's get the party started.
Shall we go? Okay. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Here we go. Ed Baker, ladies
Let's
and
do
gentlemen.
it. All right. Hello, everybody. Very, very good to be here with you today. And first of all, I think we should just say happy 20th anniversary, shouldn't we, to Real Security? So big round of applause to them. And I tell you what, my presentation is about it's good to be different. In fact, it's great to be different. And I tell you, there's nobody like this company here. You know, I travel all around the world, and nobody across the world does an event like this. It's one of the best things around. So many congratulations to Real Security, and it's great to see you all. Now you might be thinking, why is this English guy standing here in this terrible shirt, right? Does anybody like my shirt?
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? You really like my shirt? Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you a little story. I was meant to be doing a big presentation. It was in Barcelona about 10 years ago. And I got a little bit fat, right? I put on a little bit of weight. It's probably still there. None of my clothes fitted me. So I said to my lovely wife, I said, Sophie, please could you go and buy me some clothes that fit me. So she went down to the shops. And she came back and she said, "I've got you something great, okay? I've got you something great." So I looked into the bag, and right in there was this bright red flowery shirt, right? There was this like this velvet blue jacket, and I thought to myself, "What on earth have you bought me?" But of course, I couldn't not wear it. So I wore it up there on stage in Barcelona all those years ago, and I didn't know how to go, but I got lots of comments, and people said, I love your shirt, and I love your jacket, because it's different, right? So I just think it's great to be different, and that's what my presentation is all about today. So here we go. So there's lots of people throughout history who've been great through being different. I mean, this is one of them, right? I mean, you don't do this pose, right? You don't do that pose unless you're worth the amount that Elon Musk is, right? But But some people love him. Some people hate Elon Musk. He sort of polarizes people's opinion. But you can't argue that the guy is different, right? I mean, anybody that wants to save humanity by populating the moon, as an example, that's quite a crazy thing to do, isn't it? Anybody who wants to start a whole new automotive industry just by doing renewable energy, it's a pretty different thing to do, right? You can't argue that he's very different, and he's great in some ways because he's different, right? The same with even pizza, right? Even pizza. I got really bored about 3 weeks ago. Chris, and I was watching Netflix. You watch Netflix?
I do, I'm afraid, yes.
You watch Netflix. I was watching Netflix, and on Netflix, there was this documentary about Domino's Pizza, and how Domino's Pizza started. And Domino's Pizza, believe it or not, they revolutionised the pizza industry. It all started in the United States because before Domino's, everybody used to go in. They used to go in to eat their pizza. Then the guy who ran Domino's, he said, I know, I've got a great idea. Why don't we do home delivery for pizza? Right, so that's how Domino's started. They have had a few ups and downs. People fell off their bikes and cars delivering these pizzas to start with, but they revolutionised the pizza industry through home delivery. It's actually the box. It's the box that you see in the picture here that did it, right? Because you can fold it up quickly, and it keeps things warm along the way. What I also know is many of you out there here in the audience, you are resellers, right? And a lot of great things, they happen with resellers, right? Because you're very innovative. You want to be different. And just one example. It's not from this industry. It's from the data center industry. But around 15 years ago, it's actually resellers in this part of the world. They got fed up with customers' feedback about data centers. Right? Customers were saying, "Well, I'm fed up of having to buy servers, and storage, and the virtualization software, and plug it all together." And what a couple of resellers that did is that they plugged it all together. Right? They integrated. They built a reference architecture, which was very different because it simplified life for customers. Customers, they loved it. Took off like fury. All sorts of vendors copied it, but just some different examples there of why it's good or why it's great to be different. Right. So who is Trellix? Who out there knows who Trellix is? Who knows who Trellix? Not many people know who Trellix is. Who knows who Mcafee is? Mcafee? Right, okay. There we go. So let me take this slowly, right? So there's a story here. So I want to explain to you exactly who Trellix are, nice and slowly. So we got a visual. We got a visual here. So Chris, you might remember this one. So back in 1987, the establishment of Mcafee Associates. Anybody with us back then? Some people with us back in 1987. Then 2010, Intel bought Mcafee. Right. Then in 2014, it became Intel Security. That was the next part of the story. And in 2017, Mcafee became an independent company. Again, it's around about the time that I joined. It was all very exciting. Then in 2021. Mcafee Enterprise. Remember the two parts of Mcafee. There's the consumer bit. There's the bit that pops up on your laptops and it's probably on your phones, but you don't know it. And then there's the enterprise business bit. So what STG did, who are a private equity company, is they bought Mcafee Enterprise. STG, if you don't know them, they've got a huge security portfolio. They also own RSA as well as owning Trellix. Trellix now. So SDG, they bought Mcafee Enterprise. Then in 2022, STG, they also bought FireEye. Many of you who knows FireEye out there? Some fantastic technology that FireEye have. And what Trellix is going to be, it's the combination of the two, right? It's the combination of Mcafee Enterprise and the combination of FireEye. Everybody with me so far? With me so far?
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's quite a long plot. So the other thing that we've done is we are forming an independent company for our SSE portfolio, our fantastic Gartner leading rated SSE portfolio, and that's being rebranded Sky High Security. Okay, so I've got some colleagues out there from, who's representing Sky High Security today? They're all over there, so I think you're going to hear from some of them later on. Very, very friendly guys. So we're spinning out, if you like, Sky High Security. Many of the audience, you might remember that brand. So you might remember sort of Sky High networks from several years ago. So that's the story, right? So why did we split? Why are we splitting these two companies? Well, the feedback that we got from you all, being partners and customers, and from the analyst community, is that there are two overwhelming ways that vendors can help customers today. Two overwhelming market opportunities, if you like, and one of them is XDR. One of them XDR. So think Trellix is XDR. Trellix is all about XDR. Sky High Networks, Sky High Security, sorry, on the other side, they are all about SSE, so Secure Services Edge, which is part of the SASE framework, where they're a leader there. So the feedback that we got is these are such big market opportunities. There's such compelling ways that we can potentially help customers that we need to give it more focus. So by splitting these two in half, we're going to give them the focus that they deserve to help you, our customers and partners, even more. So that is the story behind these two brands. So hopefully you now have a rough understanding of where Trellix fits and where Sky High Security fits. Okay, all right. I think everybody's still with me. Let's keep going here. So this is about Trellix. So I'm with Trellix. So I lead our channel teams globally, and obviously Trellix is the combination of Mcafee Enterprise and FireEye, and we've all got a huge amount of heritage together because we've all been in the market together for many years as customers and partners and vendors. So we're not a small company. We've got 40,000 customers globally. We operate in 90 different countries. We're at 78% of the Fortune, Fortune 500, customers. Any of the frameworks that you expect us to be certified against, we're certified against those. And interesting, we've got over 1 billion sensors or endpoints out there globally, which gives us fantastic telemetry. A little bit more about that later on. We've got a fantastic reach of telemetry that we can start to put in your hands so you can deal with threats in more of an effective way. So that's who Trellix is. And the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is this thing called the Cybersecurity super cycle. When I first heard about this, thought it might be a competitor to Peloton, right? So super cycle could be a competitor to Peloton. It's not. So what the super cycle is about is what's happening in the security market. So it's what's happening in all of your worlds right now in security. And there are a couple of drivers to the cybersecurity super cycle, if you like. One is the increasing attack surfaces. So we haven't been able to run this conference for a couple of years, right? Because of COVID. And if you go back 3 years ago, if you look at a company, maybe they had one office and they had 10,000 employees. Now they might not have that big office that they had before. They might have 10,000 offices because all those employees are working at home. I mean, the other thing that's happened is because of the COVID scenario, you've seen this disproportionate increase in the use of cloud technology, whether it's collaboration, vendors, as an example, any type of technology within the cloud. That, by the way, that cloud growth was happening before COVID. But what it's done, it's broken that enterprise perimeter that we had before. That enterprise perimeter that we've relied on for so many years to sort of be our security architecture, if you like, it doesn't really work anymore because there's only so many firewalls you can throw at the problem. So the attack surface has broadened and it's become more varied. So that's driver number one. Driver number two is that the threats are going down market. So it's not just about the really big customers anymore who are being threatened from a cybersecurity perspective. It's smaller customers. Customers who might have a couple of hundred employees or 10,000 employees, what we refer to as the mid-market segment, because the threat actors, right, they know they're probably vulnerable. So they go in there, right? So they're threatening smaller customers and medium-sized customers within this super cycle that you see here. The third driver is that security teams are just overwhelmed. I mean, everybody was overwhelmed, even before the COVID crisis that we had and the break in this perimeter. Now everybody's even more overwhelmed than before. We just don't have the staff to cope with what we want to do. It's really, really hard to get skills. The people that we do have, they get stuck in doing mundane tasks. So it's harder than it ever was before. Our security teams are overwhelmed. Last but not least, organisations definitely want to simplify. The vast majority of organisations that we speak to, they say it's too complicated. Too many types of technologies, too many vendors. They don't talk to each other. I can't manage it. I am overwhelmed. I really want to simplify my environment. So that's the cybersecurity super cycle. And it's not static, right? This thing is swirling around and around, but that's what's happening in the world today. Now, this is what we think XDR is. I'm going to use the Gartner definition of XDR. Depending on who you speak to, they might give you a slightly different definition of XDR, but I'm going to read it straight from here. So XDR is a platform that integrates, correlates, and contextualizes data and alerts from multiple security prevention, detection, and response components. So that's what Gartner says. So what does the X stand for? The X means extended. So it means that the feed that's coming in now that you're using, it's not just about endpoint, it's about everything that's threatening an organisation. Of course, it's still about endpoint, it's about email, it's about network, it can be about absolutely everything. So the X stands for extended, the D stands for detection. So you're taking all of those different feeds, all of those different vectors that are coming in, the ability to cross-correlate all of that information and do detection. And the R, obviously, it stands for response and remediation. How do you respond to all of that information that you've got? So that is the definition of XDR. Now, we think at Trellix, we've got a very different view of XDR. It's good to be different. We think we've got a different view of XDR. And this is why we think we're different. We think that XDR is a platform that needs to be constantly learning and adapting using machine learning and AI. We think XDR is a platform that needs to be native and open. It needs to be expert and embedded, taking knowledge and serving that up to you in a way that you can use it. So we're referring to this as being your living security, your living DNA, because the feedback that we've got from all of you is it just doesn't work anymore. Whatever the solution was before, it just doesn't work anymore. It's too complicated. It just doesn't adapt quickly enough. So we want to give you this living security platform at Trellix. So that's how we want to be different in the marketplace. Now, one other thing about XDR here, and another way that Trellix is different. Again, going back to Gartner, it's interesting if you read some of the Gartner reports here. They talk about a front end of XDR, which is all of the feeds that are coming again in, whether it's email or endpoint or whatever else. So there's a front end of XDR. There's also a back end to XDR. So the back end is the engine if you like. It's where all the magic happens. It's where the data gets correlated, it gets prioritized, then it helps you in a way that you can remediate and respond in the right way. So again, XDR is a platform, right? You need both sides of the equation. You need to be able to cope with the front end, and you need to be able to cope with the back end seamlessly. Now, Trellix as a vendor, we're lucky because we play in multiple parts of the front end and the back end of this XDR continuum, if you like. And when we don't have the technology ourselves, we will partner. So we'll partner with the likes of Sky High Security, as an example. We'll partner with third-party vendors. We'll work with our competitors. We don't really mind because it's an open platform at the end of the day. But the way that we want to think, for people to think about XDR, it's got a front end and a back end, and it's this open platform. And our role in Trellix is to make sure you can orchestrate all of this up into one platform at the end of the day. Now, this is what we're building for all of you, just in very, very simple terms. So whether you're involved in SecOps, whether you're involved as a researcher, whether you're a partner, as 33% of you are out there in the audience, or an MSP, this is what we're building for you. So this is the architectural approach, if you like. So we're going to build one Trellix console. So you won't have a console which is just Mcafee or FireEye anymore. You'll have a Trellix console which gives you visibility and control over what we do and what's happening across the whole platform. We'll build one core engine for you, and that will come from technologies from FireEye. Those who know FireEye got a fantastic technology called Helix. Beautiful piece of technology, very smart, which helps you do that crunching in the middle, using EPO, using insights as an example. So we're going to build this engine for you in the middle. We're going to increase our lab capability. So labs in terms of making sure that we stay ahead of product research. As an example, we've got the biggest brains in the planet when they think and they talk about security. So we're going to invest in our labs, but also invest in a data lake. You think about all of these feeds that are coming in from the billion sensors that we've got, or any of these feeds are coming into this XDR platform. If you put them into a data lake, you can contextualize them in the right way. You can get gold dust of data out of that, and we can feed that back to all of you to help you make use of it and be protected. So that's what we're building in terms of the platform. A couple of things that we're doing with the roadmap. I'm not going to go to the roadmap in detail. There are other people who can talk about that. So you think about it, we're bringing two companies together right now. So we're building Trellix as we go here. But a couple of foundational things that I did want to talk about. So we're making sure that all of our technologies integrate together. So all the things that we had on the FireEye side, particularly Helix, they integrate with everything that we had in the Mcafee on the Mcafee side. So we're making sure that everything integrates together in terms of this XDR platform. We're building that single user interface that I talked about, that single console for you all. We're working hard there. We're also making sure that everything we're doing is open. So open APIs, open to working with third parties, open to integrating with our competitors at the end of the day, so we can have one XDR platform. So that gives you a snapshot of what we're working on right now. But of course, if you want more details, we can give you that here another time. Now, a couple more things from me. So one is about SecOps. So the SecOps world is quite hard, isn't it? It's quite a hard world to be. That's the feedback that we get, because you're trying to deal with many different systems at the same time, and maybe you're focusing on some of the smaller tasks when you want to be focusing on some of the bigger problems that you might have from a security perspective, and you're trying to knit things together. So it was hard anyway, right? But SecOps has got even harder because of the priority that security is now within the business. I mean, five years ago, security probably wasn't a thing for the CEO, right? But today, security really is a thing for the CEO. It materially affects the valuation of a company, how strong their security posture is going to be. So life is hard in SecOps. What we really, really want to do in Trellix is make sure people in SecOps and the SecOps world is a more seamless, it's a better experience at the end of the day. So a couple of things that we're focusing on there. So firstly, making sure we have integrated threat intelligence. So if we're seeing something, then we're automatically letting you know and feeding it into the XDR platform. Seamless orchestration and automation. We want to take away some of those smaller, mundane tasks and automate them so you can really focus on the things that are important. Guided investigations. You probably spend a lot of time sort of hunting around, trying to cross-correlate things, finding different routes. But if we can find a way, if we've done it before and we've seen it, we can press a button to do a guided investigation. That's going to help you. Defensive playbooks. We will do this on the FireEye side with Helix. We offer defensive playbooks to help you remediate something quickly, and we're going to do a lot more of that with Trellix and this XDR platform. And the last thing I'd say here is we want our whatever we do with XDR and whatever we do with SecOps to be partner friendly. So we want our partners to develop around this platform. We want our customers to develop their own IP around this platform and turn it into something which is really tailored for them through being really, really open. Remember that with one of my first slides, I talked about that example in the data center where there's a load of innovation. People built things which are really fit for purpose. I think there's a great opportunity to do that with this XDR platform. A little bit on Trellix Labs. So we want to be right ahead of the curve. That's our ambition here. We want to be the authority when it comes to XDR. We want to be the XDR company. So whether it comes to product knowledge, making sure that our products are ahead of the curve, whether it comes to thought leadership, having the people with the biggest brains in the planet. I can see one of them over there called Buka, who you're going to listen to later on. We want to have the biggest brains in the planet, giving us advice about how the landscape is developing. We want it to be automated, to have people looking at machine learning, and AI, and making sure it's all orchestrated, in the right way. So look out for a big investment coming in Trellix Labs. Now, I think there's one myth about XDR that I want to dispel. And so one myth is that XDR is just for really big customers. Just for really big customers. 5 minutes. It's not just for really big customers. XDR is for everybody, right? Because as I talked about earlier on, the mid-market customers, distracted now, the mid-market customers, they also have a huge challenge with security. So we think there's a huge growth opportunity in the mid-market for XDR, 500 users up to 10,000 users, because they want big world security too. And we have a technology set today. Many of you may know it, you may have it in your environments, you may have sold it, because it's called Insights. And it can help you give bigger security to smaller customers. If you don't know what Insights is, what we do is we take all the telemetry from those billion sensors, we collect it all together, we apply threat analysis to it with some of the big brain people that we've got, then we apply local context to it, and we serve it back up to you in a way which is useful. So it can help you proactively prioritize threats, do scenario planning, preemptively make sure that you're ready before a threat comes. And actually, Insights, it's one of those foundational building blocks for this XDR platform. This XDR platform, by the way, we're not killing technology. So you can keep your whatever you did with FireEye, whatever you did with Mcafee, you can build on it, which is going to gradually integrate all of that into a platform. Insights would be a great place to start with your XDR platform. So, that's just about it from me. So, what I hope you don't remember is my terrible shirt. What I hope you do remember is the following. So, I hope you remember that Trellix, we're all about living security. So, a different type of approach to the security market, which is open. It's real. It's honest. Acceptance that no one vendor can fix all of the challenges. So, we're all about living security. Hopefully you remember that we've got an architectural approach to XDR, so the back end and the front end of XDR, and we're open and we want to integrate with other people and make choices easier when it comes to the XDR platform. Hopefully you remember that XDR and Trellix, we're not just for very large customers, we're for smaller customers too, big security for smaller customers. And last but not least, we really value the heritage. So we've all been working together in the marketplace for many years. We've got a lot of cumulative knowledge. We're very humble about what we've done with all of you over the years. So we've got heritage. It's not like everything we're starting is new. So those are the things that I hope you remember. With that, thank you very, very much for listening to me. I hope you really enjoy your rest of the time here at the conference, and thank you very much indeed.
Well done, Ed. Ed, I just thought you might like to know.
Yes,
It needs a scan, so it says, I'm vaguely at risk. But,
I think you need to upgrade your license, Chris. Probably help you there.
We'll talk about that later.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.